Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrives in Jamaica for regional talks. 2 police constables arrested in sting operation in St. Ann. And later in sports, Day 2 of Asa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Athletics Championships continues at the National Stadium. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kalisha Williams, and here are the details. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrived in Jamaica a short while ago as part of a 2-day official visit. A release from Jamaica House notes that it is aimed at strengthening regional cooperation. It adds that Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Secretary Rubio will engage in bilateral discussions with a focus on issues surrounding illegal immigration, combating transnational organized crime, and enhancing economic partnerships with Caribbean nations. Another key topic on his agenda is strengthening regional actions to address Haiti's ongoing political and security challenges, according to a brief statement from the U.S. Department of State. Mr. Rubio is the 5th U.S. Secretary of State to visit Jamaica in the past 14 years. This following visits by Hillary Clinton in January 2010 and June 2011, Rex Tillerson in February 2018, Mike Pompeo in January 2020, and Anthony Blinken in May 2020 for the 2024 for the Haiti-related Kingston talks. Several persons were injured and transported to the St. Anne's Bay Hospital for treatment following a 6-vehicle collision on the Landover Main Road near Runaway Bay this morning. The incident involved a bus carrying a hotel guests from Moon Palace Hotel in Ocho Rios, which was en route to the Montego Bay Airport. Head of traffic for the parish, Sergeant Courtney Miller, says all individuals involved in the crash were accounted for and fortunately there were no fatalities. It caused significant traffic delays along the north coast, with firefighters, the police and wrecking service personnel working swiftly to clear the debris. And still in St. Ann, 2 constables, a male and a female, attached to the St. Ann Police Division were arrested yesterday following a sting operation conducted by investigators at one of the stations in the parish. The constables will face charges under the Corruption Prevention Act. Reports indicate the officers were on duty in the Discovery Bay area when they solicited money from a motorist for a traffic violation. The motorist reported the incident to the police high command, prompting an investigation and the setup of a sting operation. As of late last night, attorneys representing the officers were at the police station awaiting the outcome for their clients. Head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, ACP Gary McKenzie, says the Jamaica Eye has been a huge help in reducing crime. He weighed in on the issue during an interview on Smile Jamaica Wednesday morning. More in this report.
While driving and stopping at a traffic light is a normal part of daily life, the question arises, are you really safe? Recently, there has been a number of murders at stoplights across Jamaica. The latest incident occurred 3 days ago on Malines Road, where the suspect was arrested but later killed. Head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB, ACP Gary McKenzie, stated that while shootings and crime have decreased, the public must remain vigilant of their surroundings.
When you look at policing in general, there is intelligence work, there is preventive and active operational policing, and there is investigation. Jamaica Eye and surveillance in particular help us to survey, and of course where we see suspicious activities we take actions. It also helps in terms of providing evidence that supports other investigations in treating with incidents when they happen. In the corporate area, we have utilized it to good effect. Of course, we always need to get more, and that is something that the authorities are working towards doing. We talk about distractions. We're in an environment not really paying attention just in case there's a shooting, but in general, we all need to be observant. And if you observe anything at all that is suspicious, you have the ability to try and move away from it. Or if it is something that you see enveloping, it is very important to notify the police.
When asked about contract killings, ACP Mackenzie clarified that oftentimes after investigation, the deceased is involved in criminal activities.
The persons who are doing the hiring, we would have to have evidence that they are in fact doing that. Most times when we have these issues, when the person is dead, then really and truly we have to investigate to find out where that comes from. And so that is a part of the challenge. We have been using a lot of what I would say technical apparatus in terms of how we do it, to include technology. And we have been making inroads in terms of that. I don't want to be absolute in terms of...
That's why I said most.
Right. So, but what I will say is that a substantial number, right, we have found that they are involved in these activities.
Anthony Atkinson, TVJ News.
The Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODSS, is condemning the police officers who were seen in a viral video forcefully removing a taxi operator from his vehicle in St. Anne. The taxi operator, who was also pepper sprayed, was dragged from the vehicle after he seemingly disobeyed orders from the police officers. Representatives from the Transport Authority who were also on location were also impacted by the pepper spray.
Now, we condemn strongly this sort of attitude and action by our police officers. We have been seeing this too much now, too much, the type of harassment being paid out to public transport operators by police officers, and this should not be continued. This should be condemned at the highest level. Taximen are not criminals. They didn't shoot nobody, they didn't rob nobody, they didn't rape nobody. Why is it they have been treated like common criminals by the state officers?
President of TODSS, Edgerton Newman, stressed that something must be done to address how police officers seek to apprehend transport operators regardless of the road traffic breaches. As the tourism sector continues to experience rapid growth, many micro and small businesses in the country are seeing positive results. However, the increasing number of visitors and the expansion of hotel accommodations are putting pressure on these businesses to keep up with the rising demand for goods and services. Details in this report.
The surge in visitor arrivals to the country has led to a greater need for specific products and services. But there are concerns local businesses, especially smaller ones, are struggling to meet the demands of an expanded market. Concerns too that some are falling short in terms of quality and quantity.
Last year, we on our agri-linkages exchange, which is more focused on the micro and small farmers. We have 2,000 small farmers on that system, on that platform, and they sold about 450 million Jamaican dollars worth of goods, or about 4.35 million kilograms of produce. We want to double that. We want to triple that as quickly as possible. And that is separate and apart from all the agricultural produce that is sold outside of the agri-linkages platform. So it's important to highlight that way more is sold into the hotels than what we do on our agri-linkages exchange.
To address these challenges, State Minister in the Ministry of Tourism, Senator Delana Seavright, is calling for deeper linkages between smaller businesses and the tourism industry. He says currently support is being given to small and medium tourism enterprises through loan access.
The Exim Bank, the Tourism Enhancement Fund under the Ministry of Tourism, has a great partnership with the Exim Bank, and last year we disbursed 1.93 billion Jamaican dollars worth of loans via the Exim Bank to over 300 small and medium tourism enterprises. And that kind of support gives these businesses the strength and the wherewithal to continue to grow and to now better position themselves to supply the tourism sector.
He says government involvement is also critical in creating a more integrated approach to tourism development. But Mr. Seavright wants more collaboration between government ministries.
We have to also encourage local businesses to also improve on efficiency, improve on consistency, improve on reliability, improve on your prices so that you are in a better position to supply the sector at prices and a quality product that they want and they need. Beyond that, We're going to continue to strengthen relationships across the respective ministries in government. Linkages involves not just the Ministry of Tourism. It involves the Ministry of Industry and Investment. It involves the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. To an extent, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will have to play certain roles.
Antonia Atkinson, TVJ News.
April 27 to May 3rd, 2025 has been declared the Jill Stewart Mobay City Run Wellness Week. That's according to Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, ahead of the 9th staging of the Mobay City Run. The event was renamed earlier this month in honor of Jill Stewart.
It's been 8 months since the passing of Jill Stewart, wife of business mogul Adam Stewart, and though her physical presence can no longer be felt, her impact still remains fresh on the minds of those who knew her.
My wife was a trained educator. She believed in education, and her passion was sport and particularly running.
It's for this reason Mayor of Montego Bay Councillor Richard Vernon has officially declared the week leading up to the 9th staging of the 5K 10K run as Jill Stewart Mobay City Run Wellness Week, an initiative he says has been reaping tremendous benefits for the parish.
We have had challenges with cardiovascular disease and hypertension being among the leaders where persons are not well or unwell. And events like these help us to focus on health and wellness.
Health and wellness aside, the mayor says the education sector also stands to benefit.
Jamaica has a tertiary educated population of under 25%. And it is important that events like these are channeled towards sponsoring education so we can bridge those gaps.
The event is set to take place in the tourism capital on Sunday, May 4. And
this June, introducing a new section to our brand, we will have the first of its kind award ceremony named Champions of the West, which will target high school students. The name perfectly captures the spirit of celebrating young athletes from Western Jamaica. It suggests not only excellence in sports, but also the idea of emerging leaders and heroes in the region.
Amoy Harriet, TVJ News.
And we take our first break here in the Midday News, but stay with us. More stories when we come back. Welcome back to the Midday News and thanks for staying with us. It's now time for the Business Minute.
The National Road Operating and Constructing Company, NROC, has announced the basis of allotment for the shares it offered for sale in the recent APO. All applicants in the Strategic Investors Reserve Pool will receive 100% of the shares they applied for. The general public pool category was heavily oversubscribed. As a result, all applicants will be allotted the first 2.778 million shares they applied for, with an additional 33% of the remaining shares requested. The overwhelming response from investors underscores confidence in Trans-Jamaican Highway's long-term profitability. The Jamaican government divested 2.5 billion ordinary shares, representing a 20% equity stake in the toll operator. Further afield, Wall Street had a very strong performance in 2024, and more than 200,000 people working in the securities industry have benefited. Based on the estimates just out, Wall Street bonuses hit a record high. According to the Office of the New York State Comptroller, the average bonus paid to employees was nearly $245,000. That's up 31.5% from the year before. That's 3 times higher than the $80,000 median U.S. household income reported by the U.S. Census for 2023. The big bonus payouts follow a 90% jump in Wall Street profits last year. That's it for the Business Minute. I'm Prince Moore.
Now a preview of Wednesday's health report.
In this evening's health report, we look at the importance of an MRI.
What value do you put to life? As a matter of fact, the cost of most of these tests here in Jamaica, most places, imaging places, the cost, the real cost of the test and the operational cost is not really being extended to the patient.
That's the health report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's healthy living tip. To prepare for an MRI procedure, remove all metal objects, wear comfortable metal-free clothing, and consider relaxation techniques like deep breathing or listening to music.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
Police in Ghana have confirmed that one person was rescued and the search is ongoing for 3 others after a fire broke out at a Chinese restaurant on the west coast Demerara early Tuesday morning. The fire started at 3:07 a.m. Police stated that 3 individuals were reportedly inside the building at the time of the fire. Home Affairs Minister Rubio was on site overseeing the response. Preliminary reports indicate that one person of Chinese nationality was successfully rescued. On the international scene, a Turkish court on Tuesday ordered the detention of 7 journalists, including a photojournalist from the French news agency AFP, who were arrested while covering protests in Istanbul. AFP condemned the detention of its journalist, demanding his immediate release. Protests have been taking place across Turkey, particularly in Istanbul and Ankara, in response to the imprisonment of Istanbul mayor, a prominent political rival of the president. And those were the top regional and international stories. I am Kirk Wright.
We head to a quick break now. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.